It's a Victory Friday inside the vault, and it is Halloween Day, the 31st of October, last day of the month. Great to be with you guys today after, weren't we just here? I think we finished up around 1:30 or so Eastern, wee hours, post-game instant reaction episode. Go check that out if you haven't already done so once we finish up today.
I was just going to say, every time we finish those, Bobby, I'm like, are we really going to have enough content for 10 hours from now? And sure enough, every single time we do. We have brand new content, very little overlap from last night when we finished at 1:30 a.m.
Today is absolutely no exception to that. And it never, ever seems to be that we're ever in a shortage. And we got a lot to get to today. I'm Bobby Trossett. This is Sarah Ellison. As always, we're glad you guys are with us today. If you could, please like the video on your way in, subscribe, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership the way that Douglas H. Brown Sr. already has today. And this episode is brought to you by our friends at Mantis Sleep. Sarah, decisive winners, at least in terms of the final score. Got away from Miami there in the second half for sure. After a first half that, despite the Ravens, leading 14-6, probably was a lot closer. If you're a Dolphins fan, then maybe it actually felt like 28-6 is the final score. Ravens improved to 3-5. They now have a mini bye as they get ready for a road trip to Minnesota in Week 10. In terms of the rundown, I mean, what is everybody saying about Lamar? You just mentioned that there's no shortage of content. So what is the new commentary out there? There's a number of different national media outlets talking about Lamar. Is MV3 back on? After that, a heated debate has been sparked in terms of whether or not the Ravens' playoff hopes and just their overall visions and them as a team, is that a legit thing? Are they an actual playoff contender? We'll get into that debate. Marlon Humphrey is back in form of Instagram. Remember, when it's 6 hours, Bobby forgets how to speak. That's probably going to happen a couple times today, just to be clear on that. English goes out the back door. Just ask Sarah about the pre-show meeting. Anyway, Marlon Humphrey's IG Live in victory form is back, Sarah. And really, I think we should probably start, though, before we get into all that and more, with what broke just within the last hour or so. And maybe the Ravens broke the Dolphins because their owner made a decision this morning that has a lifelong Dolphin in a lot of ways. He'd been with the organization since 2000, now on the outs. That's Chris Greer. And Chris Greer, I should say, general manager. He has been let go. They've parted ways is the language that on a mutual term that Adam Schefter chose to use earlier today. He's been their GM since 2016 and, again, with the organization since 2000. So you and I joked in our pre-show call like, Ferret DaCosta wants to get in touch with the Dolphins in terms of like Bradley Chubb's trade candidacy, Jalen Phillips, these other players that are, potentially out there. Who's he going to talk to right now?
I'm sure there's like an assistant GM or somebody who will play interim GM. I just don't know who that is. Hopefully while Eric was in Miami, he found out who that is. I'm a little bit surprised that he's the first one to go. Everybody's talking about Mike McDaniels. But yeah, to your point, listen, both the Dolphins and the Ravens last week had some rejuvenated hope after some impressive wins. And so both these teams are like, okay, whose comeback is more real than the other? And it was the Ravens, and they put the proverbial nail in the coffin because the Dolphins are officially broken for 2025. So please put up those 4 sell signs on those outside linebackers. Please.
For those of you wondering, we had some comments last night on what, like, bring in Mike McDaniel, bring him in. Come on, bring him in. Stephen Ross, Dolphins owner, he's getting the opportunity to finish this season as their head coach. So it's the GM first. Head coach is safe for the time being, Sarah. But as Ryan Fitzpatrick said last night on the Prime Video post-game show, those are two teams that are going in completely opposite directions. And luckily enough for Ravens fans, they're going in the correct direction, having won a couple in a row. And of course, it all starts and ends with what was a triumphant return for number 8 for the first time in over a month.
Triumphant, electric, excellent. Not 100%, I don't believe. Held back maybe a little bit here and there. But as we know, Lamar Jackson went 18 for 23, which is a 78% completion rate. Nice, efficient, 204 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 143.2 passer rating. Bobby, what is that all up to? Oh, Lamar Jackson had 4 completions, he had 4 incompletions, but he also had 4 touchdowns. And this was obviously in front of an entire national audience. And with those 4 touchdowns, it wasn't lost on a lot of people. DraftKings posted this. I cannot tell you how many Twitter accounts made note that Lamar has 14 passing touchdowns in 5 games to Josh Allen's 12 touchdowns in 7 games. Lamar knows what he's doing in the red zone when he drops back to pass, but it's not just Josh Allen. He's also beating Baker Mayfield, CJ Stroud, Daniel Jones, Jordan Love, Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, Joe Flacco, and Trevor Lawrence in terms of more passing touchdowns. It's just, he's just a touchdown maker is what he is. And when you look at what he has for the whole season, those 14 touchdowns to just 1 interception, just over 1,000 yards. But he has the highest passer rating in a quarterback's first 5 games of a season all time. He's 136.7. I mean, we talked about rust. There was some rust for like 1 throw on the first series. But after that, he just went lights out. And so now you've got the first 5 games, 136.7. That's the best ever start. And he didn't need to have more rust. It's insane. I mean, you got these. Let's just keep going about how good he is.
Oh yeah, just take your pick. I mean, it's you and I total have probably 6 slides all on where Lamar either ranks historically or in this case, what you're seeing here, just poor Miami, man. I mean, he has just absolutely dominated his hometown, home state over the years. The most passing touchdowns throughout the first 5 starts against the team. George Blanda put up 21 against the Jets. The only other player that's tallied more is Lamar, and it's 18 against the Dolphins. Aaron Rodgers has dominated the Texans over the years with 17, or at least in his first 5 starts against Houston. And then Y.A. Tittle, too, 17 against Dallas. So, look, that's great. Miami hasn't had a lot of formidable teams throughout the last several years with Lamar going head-to-head. They have made the playoffs throughout the Lamar era at times. But clearly last night, Sarah, they were a team that, particularly in the second half, were just demoralized. I mean, they're going nowhere fast. They just fired their GM, as we mentioned earlier, to kick off the show. They're injured. There was no Tyreek Hill. I mean, who knows how this game looks? The Ravens have had Tyreek's given most teams fits, the Ravens included, as has Jamar Chase. If Tyreek's available last night, you get Darren Waller out there. Who knows? Maybe Tua ends up moving the ball, more effectively. But how about a historical note here? And by the way, these graphics are courtesy of Scott Van Pelt's ESPN show last night. This one, Sarah, maybe this one right here is, more than worth the price of admission for today's show, because this is just where it becomes legacy defining. The most wins in his first 100 starts. Patrick Mahomes, of course, leads the way. Just ridiculous. He and Brady had 78 and 76 respectively. This goes back to 1950, and it's just tracking quarterbacks. So 78 wins, most ever, the first 100 starts owned by Mahomes. But Lamar's just south of him at 72. Look at the names that are on this list. Roger Staubach, Ken Stabler, Lamar, Tom, Mahomes. It's an elite list, and that's the company that Lamar finds himself in, Sarah.
It's why he's always talked about in the MVP race. And I've got a clip on that on Get Up from this morning. But before we do, let's just review one more time those 4 touchdowns through the eyes of Brian Baldinger, our friend Baldy. And, it does help when Miami is a little bit lost. But when you're playing Lamar, he tends to have that impact. Here we go.
Lamar returned to the lineup into South Florida last night. He was on his game. Ravens are in a 2 tight end set. This is 4th down. Opening touchdown of the game for the Ravens. Little roll right here, flooding the zone. And there's Mark Andrews right there. All right, easy throw away from the safety That's the first one. All right, then you get this one right here, where there's Mark Andrews. He's going to run this crossing route right here. And the Dolphins are in man coverage. And on this crosser, that's exactly what you hope happens. Two guys run into each other, allows Mark Andrews to pop free, and he gets his second touchdown of the night. Great throw by Lamar, but two Dolphins running into each other. And then you get this other, like, half roll right here, and you're going to get Charlie Kohler right here, just kind of dragging across the formation. Nobody picks him up, kind of stumbling a little bit, wide open. Third touchdown. And then the last one, fourth quarter right here, again, you're going to get max protection right here. You're getting two receivers crossing, Rashad Bateman along with Zay Flowers. And right here, I'm not sure what the Dolphins are doing. Like, there's crossers right there. Lamar's looking at it. He's like, I'll just step up. All right, he steps up. Nobody covers Rashad Bateman. Fourth touchdown of the night. Lamar, straight out of Pompano, comes back to South Florida and flips 4 touchdown passes and to make it look easy.
He does make it look easy. That's because he can extend those plays. It's because he can be so patient that he'll just wait for something to open up. Steps up in the pocket, goes outside the pocket, hamstring, no hamstring, all that kind of stuff. So looking good. And that's why this morning, Bobby, people are talking about a revival of the MV3 chant. Some feel like it should be MV4, but that's where we're at. And I'm not a gambler, but I tell you what, if I were, ESPN Get Up tells you why. You better get on this train while you can, with the odds of Lamar Jackson still being slightly low, but it's not going to stay this. It's surging already. It's still on the lower end, but it's surging. So you better get on the train now, according to ESPN Get Up.
Looking for something to play into today. Might I interest you in Lamar Jackson as the MVP at 50-1. 50-1 sounds insane, but if you do a blind resume here, Jackson, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. Patrick Mahomes, your MVP leader, 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. 79% completion percentage, or I should say 72% completion percentage for Jackson. Statistically, everything's there. It's just the lack of wins, which are coming with a softer schedule, and on top of that, the missed games. But think of the narrative behind Lamar Jackson's MVP push. He was snubbed last year in the eyes of many with Josh Allen winning, and if he leads this team back from the dead, everyone's going to be on that train by the end of the year. We'll forget about the injury.
It's actually, when you look at how bad they were without him, it actually could. I find this stuff fascinating. I'm one who thinks the MVP discussion is important because while we sometimes downplay its significance and relevancy in the moment, when we start judging players in retrospect, when we start talking about what did they accomplish in their career, how many MVPs they won is a huge factor in this. So, Bart, the idea that a guy misses a couple of games, maybe that is the definition of value. Usually I feel like in football, he missed 3 games, he's out of the MVP conversation. Maybe the reverse should be true.
Yeah, because you can see it coming, right? Because you see what they look like without him. It was almost hard to watch. I never saw people boo the team in Baltimore ever. But, they were doing that. And the fact that, Lamar Jackson is back, you see how dynamic he is. You see how easy in which he scores. And you see how dynamic this offense can be in the different ways in which he can be effective, whether throwing the ball, being able to buy time in the pocket, or being able to run the ball, or being able to have, I believe, one of the most complex run games in all of football. That takes a lot of football acumen.
Let me also, for the viewers, explain. The MVP award is not done and voted on by AI. It is done by humans, and it is done by several people that you see on TV and read their stuff every day. You can look it up. It's all public.
Yeah.
Narrative matters. Whether you like it or not, narrative matters. And sometimes we control some of that. If Lamar takes his team back from the ashes and they go on this wild run, you better believe there's going to be momentum. And the word valuable, to Joe's point, most valuable player. Well, they stunk without him, and they're a team that's contending for the Super Bowl with them. It's a very good narrative if that's the case.
Ooh. That's I think the thing that bothered Ravens fans the most last year is Lamar was clearly the best, and a large chunk of MVP voters, because they saw him as the best, voted for him to be MVP. But there were about 7 voters who changed their vote from, yes, he's the best, that's why we're going to vote for him as AP All-Pro, #1 quarterback, but we're going to take it away from him because of this subjective word value. And so they stole it from him last year, in my view, by speculating, just simply speculating that he was doing more with more, right? What's the popular phrase that is often used is, oh, you want to give an MVP for somebody else because they're doing more with less. And so it's like you're going to punish Lamar that he did more than the other guy did. But in your speculative world that you made up in your mind, he did more with more. When now we're seeing today that he did have less. It wasn't as good. And I don't want to knock his teammates. I'm not going to sit here and trash Derrick Henry or anybody else, but it's dumb. But Schrager's absolutely right. It's not an AI award. It's not just a stats award, because if it was, then you wouldn't even need voters. So narratives are in there. And now Lamar has 2 very good narratives in his back pocket. Number one, there's a lot of backlash over last year. Not the backlash that other people try to say when the voting is 49-1. No, it was like legitimately a debate between these MVP voters to where there was only, I think, a 7 voter difference, not a 49 voter difference. And so you've got that in the back pocket, that it was like, was it stolen from him? At least the conversation is there. And the second one is what we're seeing right now, is the Ravens dead in the water without Lamar Jackson. He was playing at an MVP level before he left, but the defense was atrocious. And now the defense is starting to find its footing. Lamar comes back after 33 days off, and then he shows you once again the potential of this team. It cannot be stolen from him in terms of narrative this time. He's got 2 of those in his back pocket. So now he just has to go out and do the work. We know that Lamar doesn't care, but he does care about winning, and that's why he's going to play spectacularly, in my view, in my prediction, the rest of the way out. If he's still among the top touchdown passers after missing those games, he's still in the top of the top quarterbacks and quarterback rating. He still keeps his mistakes and interceptions and fumbles low. And then he's able to propel the Ravens to the playoffs. He is going to have an ironclad case to get his MV3.
Well, speaking of potential from a team perspective, Roquan Smith talked about that in his post-game press conference last night in a winning locker room from Miami.
Who we are, but I've never had any doubt in my mind on who we are, and I've said it weeks ago. Like, I'm an optimist myself, and just each and every guy know the process that each and every guy thought through and knew where we were going to be, and we knew we was going to be in this position on like how we were going to respond after the bye, and I feel like we're showing exactly how we're responding, and it's just part of the process. This is just 2, and we're on our way to many more.
Many more, and we know what Zay Flowers had to say last night, Sarah, in his post-game interview with NFL Network, and these guys are starting to feel it, right? They're obviously making themselves available after a win, riding high leading into a mini bye. They're healthy. They're very much in control of what's ahead, perhaps with this favorable schedule over the next few weeks. But as we discussed at length last night on the post-game show, some of those glaring deficiencies are going to have to get cleaned up against the AFC elites. You can get away with it against a Chicago team that had a number of self-inflicted wounds. And I think they're probably talking about that first half in Miami today from a Dolphins coverage standpoint, because in a lot of ways, this was a Dolphins team that outplayed the Ravens last night through 2 quarters. And yet out of the half, credit the Ravens for making adjustments, keeping their foot down on the pedal. And sometimes when self-inflicted wounds happen, it's easy to just be like, oh, that's on that team. That's on them. But I think you alluded to it earlier on in the show too. The stress that the Ravens can often put on opponents, that should play into it as well. And I think when you do have Derrick Henry and Lamar in your backfield, and you add in Keaton Mitchell, how about the one package they lined up with? Keaton was to Lamar's left, and Justice was to Lamar's right. I can't remember if we talked about this just briefly last night on the postgame show, but that's the type of creativity. Excuse me?
I said it's all a blur to me now last night.
Oh yeah, me too. I might still be in that blur, in that gray. But point is, I think it's easy to just be like, oh, self-inflicted wounds like the last couple of weeks. And there's no doubt that Chicago and Miami have had a plethora of those. But you also, in some cases, have to give the Ravens credit too for the stress that they put opposing defenses under, given the full personnel that they have now at their disposal health-wise.
Yeah, and that's what we can do in the next segment. We're going to talk about how this projects forward, because there's a lot of debate on what the Ravens' playoff potential is going forward among Stephen A. Smith, Ryan Clark, Chris Canty. So many people talking about how much you should believe in the Ravens going forward. So we'll hit that up after Super Chats. And do we have a read, or is it just Super Chats?
Yeah, we do. Let's start with Super Chats today, though. Douglas H. Brown Sr., what's going on, DHB? He says, you two did an awesome wrap-up last night, and I was encouraged to watch. I really appreciate this channel and this family, and you two are the heart of it. Appreciate you, Douglas. Thanks for turning around with us today. This was well over. This was about 2 hours ago. At 10 a.m., he was hitting us with these, including a 5-spot, 5 channel memberships, 5 new Voltrons with official status, thanks to Douglas's generosity. Sudesh writes, Bobby, you skipped a Mom the Meatloaf last night. I think I skipped multiple of them. I owe you guys on the back end. Yo, Jitsu for you.
Back on track, baby. We still need OG help with the prayer emoji.
Take another one from Brian Walters.
Don't do this. Don't give me hope. Brian doesn't want it. Brian's been hurt too many times.
Yeah. Brian, are you being pulled back in? Is that kind of what you're suggesting? And
he doesn't want to be pulled back in, Bobby.
Have you already been pulled back in, though? Brian, a couple follow-ups from me to you. Cameron Walker is celebrating 5 months of channel membership, and he writes, put the word out. Let everyone know we back up. It's now or never for this squad. What we doing? Happy we back in contention. L looked rusty, but good. Raven Lunatic is here on this Victory Friday.
So blessed. Shed to be gifted 1 month channel membership that I will re-up next month. Happy Victory Halloween, Victory Friday. Love it.
That's always cool when they commit immediately after the gift to renewing at the end of the month. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Raven Lunatic. And Don J writes, I went to the game last night. More Raven jerseys than Miami. If the defense doesn't tighten up, we are going to have a problem. Miami moved the ball and made errors that better teams won't, which is what I was suggesting a moment ago. And just because I feel like this is a nice segue, Don, and I don't know where it fits into the rest of the show, listen to what Tua had to say on that 4th and 1 where Kyle Van Noy drew off one of Miami's offensive linemen that ultimately led to, well, not running the 4th down call, attempting a field goal, which Riley Patterson missed.
4th and 1 where Larry Bourne was called for the false start. What was your understanding of what happened there as far as to
I would say with the Ravens fans, it maybe got a little muffled with my cadence and the crowd noise. So, we kind of talked about that on the sideline after and got that corrected.
Wow, Don, so you're not kidding. A lot of jerseys in there, a lot of flock. You could hear it at one point. Oh, at one point, I was going to tweet this out, but I wasn't sure how to go about doing it without censoring it. But once the post-game show started on Amazon, you could clearly hear word for word Ravens fans that were hanging out behind the set waiting for Lamar to come out. F the Steelers. And it was piping through the Amazon post-game broadcast. Steelers catching strays. They weren't even in the game last night.
Well, Ravens coming for the AFC North. But Bobby, while we're talking about this real quick, the Ravens fans over there, I was just going to bring this in as a quick hit, but I'll slip it in now. Josh Berman, maybe some of you guys follow him on social media. He was at the game, had his phone open for the national anthem. We all know what Baltimore fans do with that.
This is going to be very loud. Here we go. This is going to be loud. I'm telling you right now. Oh! Wow.
So you got MVP chants, and I did see people with Dolphins jerseys on also chanting MVP. Now, granted, he's from Florida, so maybe there's just some, kids there that are like, hey, that's a Florida guy. So you got MVP chants. You've got the Ravens fans loud enough that Tua feels like they couldn't hear the snap count. You've got F the Steelers. You've got a sea of purple. You've got the O. Ooh, there's a lot of Ravens fans down in Florida, and there's a lot of Ravens fans that traveled to Florida.
Including Ingraven. He made the brief little trip over there to make it, he lives right around there. So hopefully he enjoyed it. I'm sure ran into a bunch of folks out there at Hard Rock. Colin Haney celebrating 5 months of channel membership. And Colin writes, and by the way, Josh is 20 years old, and he's got a bright future. I don't know what it's going to be, whether it's in content, traditional broadcasting, whatever it is. I had a chance to meet him a couple times out in the playoff atmosphere and a couple of the tailgates that I've done over the years. Josh is well ahead of the game, so good for him for being on the ground floor, really, of this new age, or as he says on it in his handle, next network, next up. So salute to Josh. Colin Haney celebrating 5 months of channel membership, and he writes Lamar's MVP odds plus 5,000. I'm throwing a couple bucks on that. Sound like easy money to me. Hashtag MV3, and that's what Fortenbaugh was getting after earlier on. Manny was one of those that traveled to Miami from Mexico City, and he's with us today.
Wow, he said he was at the game 3-0 when I go and watch them. Dang,
Yeah.
Manny, I guess you just got to go more often then. Sacrifice for the team.
I want to say the other one. I know at least one of the other ones there, Manny. It was you and Mike went to the Houston game, right? Christmas Day last year where they absolutely thumped them. What was the other one? I can't remember. Cappy Barra writes, great game. We can win the division, but Zach Orr's play calling continues to threaten my sobriety. We had 338 yards last night with Lamar. The Dolphins had 332. Our players held them to 6, not our defensive coordinator.
I think it's the run defense. I think it's fair to say that Zach is limited because that running game was for the Dolphins was really gashing the Ravens defensive line. They really gashed them on the outside too, where your linebackers have to be. So this is where EDC needs to come in and help his defensive coordinator out a little bit.
Achane had 14 carries for 67 yards, 4.8 per tote, and then they also got him involved in the intermediate screen, short passing game, 6 receptions for 39 yards. He was getting everything he wanted. Did not reach the end zone, nor did any Miami Dolphin because it was just...
Well, and I also would contend that the Dolphins helped out a little bit by not scoring. How many times did they shoot themselves in the foot when they were in the red zone or other short yardage situations where they had to have it or they had to convert? I mean, they were a mess.
I feel like we need to keep reiterating that, and not negative Nancy. It's just real. I mean, they were terrible last night.
Yeah.
To your point, they had a turnover. They had 2 turnovers in the red zone. One of which was a turnover on downs, which is what you just referenced. That I had no idea what was going on there. Tua just airmailed it, and Achane looked like he gave up on the route there, and Kyle Hamilton's in coverage. Achane
and the play call was dumb anyway. Like the play call was dumb, the throw was dumb, the route was dumb. It was all a mess. What
I think happened there was, and I listened to the entire press conference just from a Miami perspective.
Yeah.
Tua took ownership of that. I don't think he actually needed to. I mean, it was a leader move there at postgame. Sure seemed to me like, and Kirk Herbstreit's instant analysis was like, whoa, why is he giving up on the route? Like Achane. So anyway, long story short, missed field goal, terrible in the red zone. They looked like a team that, again, is bound for a top 5 draft pick. Matthew Spalding says, my son Bear, that's an awesome name, by the way. My son Bear and his team are playing for the Kentucky 7th grade state division championship tomorrow. Please wish the Bullet, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, the Bullet East Chargers well tomorrow. Let's go, Bear. What position's Bear, Matt? Let us know. I feel like he's a fullback. What's Bear doing for the
I feel like he's a
Bullet East
linebacker.
Chargers? Sarah, Bear the Bullet. Let's go.
Let's go.
Line him up. Lace him up tomorrow, Bear. Get that dub. Wildlife for you.
Oh, man, you got more fired up for Bear than you've been for the Ravens all year.
No, wake my arse up. Let's run it.
Let's go. Wildlife Wale says playoff football from here on, 1 game at a time.
Appreciate you, W squared. Brian Walters says, I'm back in, baby. Oh, he confirms it. Ready to be hurt or ready to feel the love. Now, wait a second. It wasn't all that long ago that Chris Canty, and a lot of you guys agree with him. What did he come out with? He said, the Ravens can't hurt me anymore. Brian, can they hurt you? Apparently they can. Or ready to feel the love, he says. Optimistic, lots to prove, and time will tell. Thanks, Brian. Laney Lately's here.
Laney says Lamar will always be my MVP with 3 purple heart emojis. Oh, the love.
Take another one from Wildlife.
Sure. Wildlife says Miami is always like a home game for us.
The majority of the team, not the majority, a good percentage of the teams from South Florida. Asmodeus Thanato says, I'm starting to believe offensive line is still dump. We need 2 trades for interior line. Okay, yeah, both sides, interior, so guard and interior defensive line. Mike Green, 45, Malachi Starks, 24, and Teddy Buchanan, 40 are all looking great. You had a tweet on that this morning. All 3 rookies contributed to last night's win. Yep. Nate Campbell.
Nate says, if there's any year to make a comeback, it's a year where there's no clear-cut juggernaut in both the AFC and NFC.
Well, that's what's kind of funny about the MVP race entering this weekend. Outside of Jonathan Taylor, Mahomes, who else are you making like a compelling case for? So again, like it's funny.
That's next segment. That's next segment. We're going to get deep into all this.
Well, going back to what you said earlier on, though, there's just not. It's funny how that MVP should be the last of anybody's concerns, but for the purpose of the exercise, it's interesting because it's wide open right now, and here come the Ravens if they want to keep stacking.
MVP is always one of the top of my concerns. Sorry. Not sorry.
Yeah, I know that. And you and I could not be in more disagreement on that. But from a legacy standpoint, I understand where you're coming from.
Right.
Captain writes, I will never care about it the way that you do in 2024, though. You know that. I know that. You know that. And we agree to disagree on that, but I love it. I love that you bring it.
If he's playing at MVP level, there's good chances. Good things happen. And he deserves the recognition for it.
They need it. The narrative is there. The narrative is there. More to come in a couple minutes. Captain Hard writes, love when the narrative's there for Lamar every year. I mean, it's like, it's wild how that works.
The narrative was against him last year.
Well, yeah. So from a high level, I guess, nationally. Yeah. The folks that make the call, I guess. Captain Hard writes, love when the Ravens play and win on Thursday. Now I can watch Sunday football and not be stressed and just enjoy the games. I feel the same way, and we talked about that late last night. Wildlife is back.
Wildlife says, I'm not blaming Zo here. Too many arm tackles. Love the takeaways, though. 3 takeaways are nice.
Yeah, and unheard of in recent weeks, aside from Wiggins last week. Brian Walters writes, I was at both Christmas Day massacres, San Francisco and the Texans, and at the Tampa and Dallas games last year. None this year. Coincidence? Nah. They got this. And Mark Tipp is here.
He says, Bateman finally kept moving / working to get open. I was glad to see it. LFG.
Thanks, Mark. And that brings us to Manta Sleep, our episode's title sponsor. And they got these pop-up banners that are new, I guess, because they're doing a promo on earplugs coming soon. If you want to get early access, you know the drill. Just click on the link that you see here when it pops up. But let me tell you, 5.5, 6 hours of sleep, it's always tricky when you're trying to host a show, but Manta Sleep makes it possible to actually get optimal sleep for 6 hours, 5 hours, 8+ hours, whatever it is, because their sleep masks enhance your sleep straight up. Our friend Kadri Ismail just got sent a care package. I know he's fired up. The Ellison household has white noise machines floating around, and the new gen Bluetooth sound mask. One of many that you have to choose from when you go to mantasleep.com. We have direct links included in our show notes. Also as a pinned comment in the live chat, the sound mask, the Pro mask. That's mine choice. Manta Sleep Mask Pro, the silk, the original, weighted masks, cool masks, steam masks, and they've even got kids masks for you as well for kids that are ages 6 and up. You name it, they got it. Minimal eye pressure. Take a look at the steam mask. It gives you gentle warmth in 3 to 5 minutes. Effective blackout features powered by 100% natural steam. If you find something you like on this awesome and really well-designed website, use our discount code at checkout. It'll get you 10% off your purchase. That's VAULT10, VAULT10. That's discount code VAULT10. Your kids overslept today. Were they wearing their sleep masks?
Oh my gosh. Do we need to tell that story?
Let's put the boys on blast.
I made the conscious decision. I told my kids that I was sleeping in until 7:30 today. I usually get up at 5:30, but I was not doing that after last night. My oldest son, since he's been young, he's always asked to stay up for these late games. I have allowed it. And I'm not joking. Every single time he's gotten himself out of bed, because I'm like, the one time you sleep in, you can't do this anymore. So he's been going strong for a good 8 years. So he accidentally wakes up at 4 a.m. This is his story. He wakes up at 4 a.m., delirious, jumps in the shower, comes back out and realizes, oh, it's only 4:30. Well, I'm going to go back to bed. Well, I don't know if he had turned off an alarm or whatever. He had set a wrong alarm. So he goes back to sleep. So his younger brother goes in and wakes him up. He's like, dude, we got to go to school. And he's like, oh, just give me 10 more minutes. And so they both lay down, completely dressed and showered and ready to go to school. And they fall back asleep. Next thing I know, I'm woken up by like phone calls from the school saying 2 of my kids are absent from their first period. So I'm like, I got to go get them out of bed, and they're fully dressed and ready to go.
Right.
So that's what happened this morning.
Chalk it up to optimal sleep and primetime football because mom's still sleeping. Oh, Guardian Aiden, what are we going to do with you guys? Appreciate you, Matt, to sleep for the continued support. And just because we got a few more, why don't we just rip through them quickly? Draydog679 says, EDC didn't replace Mike Pierce when we lost Matabike. EDC must make interior defensive line happen with a legit guy, not a jag, just a guy. Capybara for you.
Oh, shoot. What did I do with my glasses? Here we are. Jeez Louise. Okay. I didn't know we were going back to super chats. Okay. It's all good. I can get glasses on the fly. I'm flexible like that. If Eric DaCosta gets us a game wrecker for the trenches, I don't know about a game wrecker, but wouldn't that be nice? Weren't we dreaming this morning about Bradley Chubb? Just let him go. Just let him go. The future of Bradley Chubb and Mike Green and Tavius Robinson, like that would be your future. I would love that future. But anyway, game record for the trenches before the deadline. I'm changing my daughter's name to Eric DaCosta. If he gets a game record in the trenches, Capybara says he'll change his daughter's name to Eric DaCosta. Why are you punishing your daughter?
And how old is she? I assume under 18, right? Travis Whitfield says Gilman needs to be better with his tackling. We talked about this last night. As great of a fit as he's been, had some issues in open space. We'll have a clip from him coming up later on in the program. Matthew Spalding says Bear is a defensive tackle.
Oh, even better.
Opposite side of the ball, which I just randomly guessed. Bear's playing for a state championship. 6 feet tall, 255 pounds, 12 years old.
What? That's not real.
6 feet, 255 at 12?
There's no way.
He got an offer yet, Matt?
So this isn't a high school game, right? Because 12-year-olds are not in high school. This can't be real.
Let's go back to his original one just so that we can be thorough here. Matt wrote us that they're playing for the Kentucky 7th grade state division championship tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
wow.
If
those are his real measurements, no wonder they're going to the state championship. Bear is like breaking through the offensive lines and wreaking havoc on the opposing quarterbacks. That's what's happening right there. As 12 years old.
Those are some measurables that might have Eric calling prior to Tuesday. Maybe if they win the state championship. Can he stop the run, Matt? Does he stop the run in 7th grade? Because I imagine there is absolutely nobody running on him. I would think. Thanks, Matt. Good luck to your son, Bear. Nuno writes, that's one of my favorite super chats we've ever gotten right there.
Seriously.
The entire story of that is amazing. And I want to learn more about, not only Bullet and this 7th grade team, but what Bear is all about in the trenches. Get some, Bear. Let's go. Go get that W. Nuno writes, Buchanan's grip on opponents let Marlon and Jillian? Is it Gilman to attack the ball, punch it out? Let's keep going for it. Go Ravens. Appreciate you, Nuno.
It's been a minute since we've gotten off the rails. Bear helped us get off the rails there for a minute. It's been a minute.
Go get some, Bear. Be that bad boy, Bear.
This is what joy does. When you win, it brings joy, and they can go off the rails every now and then. But Wildlife is back, and he says Matthew Bear is a cheat code.
I bet you he's a mean mugging guy out there, isn't he? He just gets involved. There's no 7th grader that wants to meet him in a gap.
No.
Come on now.
What I need is Matt, can we get like video or pictures of the state championship? Because we're going to need an update on Monday.
I'm getting jacked up for this state championship game. I mean, that's Kentucky powerhouse 7th grade football, and Bear's going to come around and just break heads, baby. Come on, Bear. I just love this story. I love it. I love this story. I love what's on the line. I love learning about 6 feet, 255 pound 7th graders. He put me in the dirt. He put Pat Ricard in the dirt last night. I love you, Pat. Can't do you dirty like that. EB's in the house today. And he says, what a belt to arse performance. Zeitler, Judon, and a needle-moving defensive tackle for the trade picks. And get Falala off the darn field. Hashtag new head coach 2026. Sarah, EB is on record for telling me this week on a personal access guest line call that even if they win the Super Bowl, he wants Harbaugh gone. He told me that this week. Didn't you, EB? Captain is here.
Oh my God. And he doesn't have, hey, just one request. Like he had like 4 requests, like big ones. He wants a defensive tackle. He wants an outside linebacker. He wants a new guard, and he wants a new head coach. He wants it all. Tom Hard says, Mia fired their GM. So Bradley Chubb, question mark?
Olu writes, Bobby's switching like Ocho in here. Who's Ocho? Ocho Cinco or Acho? Glad you're back, buddy. EDC. Who said, wait, you're putting words in my mouth. EDC has to hit at least 1 home run in trades with 1 other mid guy. Maybe we have a chance. Asmodeus is here.
Would it be at least 1 more home run? Would Alohi Gilman be a home run? Not like a game wrecker in and of him, not a game wrecker in and of himself, but clearly a defensive turnaround since that trade.
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that yet.
Yeah, it's tough how to define it. Okay, Asmodeus says, my best friend's son is 5'11", about 160 at 11. My goodness.
Is he playing this game too?
Yeah.
What is going on? Like, what is going on in Kentucky?
Is he the center that's taking on Bear?
I have to tell you, I am if you guys haven't already figured it out, I am very, very intrigued for this state championship game. And I may try to find a way to stream it because I want to see Bear. I want to see Bear. I want to see Bear go get some.
You're going to go to Kentucky and stream this?
No. Stream it virtually. I want to get a link to watch this game. If it's being streamed. Come on, Bear.
I was like, you're going to do a personal channel, play-by-play, live stream from the Kentucky 7th grade state championship, starring Bear, whatever his last name is. I wish I had his last name.
Well, let's see. Matt's last name is Spalding, so Bear Spalding.
Bear Spalding. What a great sports name.
Absolutely. Perry Booker Jr. says, give me Zeitler, Chubb now, and draft an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman.
Oh, he's already ready for the draft in April. Okay, Holly says, Bobby's got that fired up Shannon Sharp energy.
Spalding Matt just kind of shot me in the arm. You know, I'm fired up for Bear. I'm fired up for a weekend to ourselves. Olu writes, Sarah, he isn't a home run, missing a lot of tackles.
He did miss a lot of tackles. I'm talking more, overall impact on the defense, but home run might be a little much. I hear you, Olu.
This is like what his presence allowed for.
The trickle, the ripple effects.
Yeah. Some of the stability that he's brought to obviously other levels. So time to talk debate. Appreciate you guys for being with us on this Friday. Feels like a Monday, but it's a Friday. Happy Halloween to those of you who celebrate. I am not one of them, but I hope you guys enjoy it if you are. Over 2,100 concurrents. We'll
come back to that in one more thing. I don't know what you mean by that. Let's come back to that later.
You are. This is going to be, I already know where this is going. Over 2,100 concurrents. Thank you guys for being with us today. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. As much as I want to talk about Bear for another hour, I'm going to hand the baton off to you, and we're going to talk debate.
Yeah, obviously things are getting interesting because of the Ravens' history, especially with Lamar Jackson. We know when Lamar Jackson is healthy, the Ravens make the playoffs. That's just the way it's been since 2018. Lamar is healthy, Ravens make the playoffs. And so everybody's just been waiting. When everybody on the outside, assuming the Ravens were going to get things together at some point. When are they going to get it together? So now they've got these 2 wins in 5 games. And if the Steelers lose to the Colts, who are number 1 in the AFC on Sunday, then the Ravens are legit just 1 game out from the top of the AFC North. So now everybody's talking. What is the Ravens' potential? Okay. So First Take went all the way in their debate. It wasn't like, could they make the playoffs? Could they make a wild card game? Could they win the division? It wasn't that. They skipped through all of that. And they discussed, with Lamar Jackson back, are the Ravens Super Bowl threats? They're going all the way. Now, I got to be honest, I felt like both Ryan Clark and Stephen A. Smith made some compelling points for each argument. So, Bobby, I'm going to get your reaction and mine, of course. That's what we do on here. At the end of this debate, Ryan Clark says, not a chance. Stephen A. Smith says, now hold on.
This is not a team that's in contention to win a Super Bowl just because Lamar Jackson is back. We just had a conversation about the Bills yesterday, who are playing better football than the Ravens have this season. Before Lamar Jackson went out, this was a one-win team, and he was playing at an MVP level. Yes, last night Lamar was Lamar. We've seen that year in and year out, but we've also seen this team be consistently good entering the playoffs. How many years have we stood up here and said, okay, this is Lamar's year, this is the Ravens' year, when they had #1 defenses, when Lamar Jackson was carrying the MVP? And so now all of a sudden, because they get some people back healthy, because you beat the Bears with Caleb Williams and you beat the Miami Dolphins, who are a team in turmoil, we're going to say that now you are a Super Bowl contender? Absolutely not.
Well, listen, I'm just saying, Ryan, you might be right. I'm saying they can't definitively be rolled out because of what y'all told me. Didn't y'all tell me the Steelers a suspect?
Yep.
Yes, we did. Didn't we say that we don't know whether Indianapolis are those dudes? They're 7-1.
I didn't say that.
Oh, no,
Don't put that in my
no,
mouth.
I'm talking about looking at the completion of the team. They're very impressive, but we still want to see, because if we had to bet our money between him and Daniel Jones and Patrick Mahomes, or Daniel Jones and Josh Allen or somebody, where we going to go? So we're looking at it from that perspective. We've already conceded that the Buffalo Bills have their issues, okay? Keon Coleman's got to play a little bit better. Somebody's got to step up and be an additional weapon for Josh Allen. We're looking at the AFC, and almost by default, that kept the Baltimore Ravens relevant. Now I'm looking at it, week 1 through 5, allowing 35.4 points per game, 408.8 yards per game, with a total of 2 takeaways. They were absolutely awful. Over the last 3 weeks, allowing only 13 points, 315 yards per game, 5 turnovers forced in the past 3 games. Miami was last night, but the game before that was the Chicago Bears. The game before that was the Los Angeles Rams. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, the level of competition that you're going against and the way you've shown up defensively over the last 3 weeks, that was where our hesitation came from the Baltimore Ravens. It was 2 things: their defense and Derrick Henry holding on to the football, because he had fumbleitis the first few weeks of the season. That's not what we've been talking about over the last few weeks. So now if we're sitting there going like this, okay, what if the Ravens defense has legitimately improved?
Okay. Bobby, we're talking Super Bowl, not play. We got another question coming in a minute. So specifically to Super Bowl, are they a threat? He's asking if they're a threat. That's the question on the screen. Are the Ravens a threat with Lamar? RC says no, because Lamar was already playing at an MVP level and they only had 1 win before he was injured. Stephen A. Smith says, I hear you, but can you definitively rule them out based on the competition that we're seeing in the AFC and the fact that the 2 big worries, or the 2 big problems early, was fumbles and a terrible defense that appears to be turning it around since the Alohi Gilman defense. What say you? Are the Ravens a threat for the Super Bowl once again?
I don't think either one. I think each one of them have a point, to be honest with
That's
you.
what I thought.
I think each one of them have. It's funny because you and I barely even talked about this, so apparently we're lockstep on it. Oftentimes we only pre-produce a little bit, right? And so in this case, we haven't really talked about it much at all. I think both of them have a point, and here's why. Right now, I don't believe they're a Super Bowl contender, but Stephen A. has a point as well, because they're not mathematically out of the playoffs, and as long as they qualify for the playoffs, which they still have a chance of doing, they're going to have a chance to be a threat. Have they gotten to the bowl yet? No, but they've been a threat in the postseason. They'll continue to be as long as they qualify. And as long as they're eligible to qualify, you can't rule them out, particularly given the favorable schedule moving forward. But as far as Ryan's concerned, in the here and now, yeah, I can't get lost in the sauce of a 2-game win streak against these 2 opponents in Chicago and in Miami and refer to them as a Super Bowl contender. Not as of this juncture.
Right. You, like Stephen A., he's like, you can't rule them out. I'm just so happy, if you don't mind me mentioning, that we have gone from they are cooked to you can't rule them out. We brought you along at least that far. You can't rule them out. Whereas before you thought they were cooked.
Correct. And as of right now, I have to stand by that. I've said
they're cooked.
I've said in recent weeks that I believe they're going to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Here they are making it interesting. And they're heading in the direction where I'll have to eat those words, but we're not there yet.
Okay. I can respect that.
Yeah, we're heading in that direction.
You see a future where you may have to eat the words.
I see both. I see both scenarios that are in play. Both scenarios are in play. Just the way that they can be a threat in the Super Bowl is in play just as much as this thing going south. But right now, it's certainly they're up. Who said it earlier? We up. Let them know we up. Cameron Walker. They feel they're up right now. There's no doubt about that. But I can't get lost in what I feel like is an inflated 2-game win streak. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's fair. But even before the 2-game win streak, I still felt comfortable saying they weren't cooked and they were going to make the playoffs. So you're waiting for evidence. I'm projecting. It's two completely different styles. You want to see it to believe it.
Yep.
My view is anybody can do that, though. Yeah. I feel like it takes it's projecting is a little bit more difficult. Anybody can say, okay, I see it once you see it, once they do it. Look, but it's another thing to like look ahead. Yeah. And that's why people have to eat their words, though. You did look ahead and you said they'd be cooked, and maybe you will have to eat those words, maybe you won't. But at that point, before that Bears game, you were off the playoff bandwagon. I was on it. So I guess my point is I'm not lost in the 2 games. I thought this was coming, and I think they're going to continue to go on a run.
Yeah, and I'm just referring to myself, in terms of the way I'm looking at this. I don't want to get lost in the sauce of a 2-game win streak against inferior opponents where there was self-inflicted wound after self-inflicted wound. But I also realize that there is a very real scenario where I'll have to get on here and say, I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun on pulling the plug on Harbaugh. I jumped the gun on calling them cooked, but we're just not there yet.
I got you. Well,
and what's interesting about this, though, and why it's going to have so many layers moving forward is they still might not get to where they want to go, like we've talked about in the postseason, and the bites of the apple that Harbaugh has had that you've been talking about may still come up regardless of whether or not they make the playoffs. We'll save those conversations for down the line, but that could be a very real scenario.
Yes, and I'll actually have a clip on that would sway me one way or the other. I'm with Stephen A. that you cannot rule out the Ravens as a Super Bowl threat, but I'm not sticking my chest out the way I would if somebody asked me, do you think the Ravens will win the AFC North? Okay. I'm going to go stronger than saying I won't rule the Ravens out from the AFC North. I'm going to go stronger than that, and I'm going to predict that the Ravens do win the AFC North. Chris Canty was asked that very question this morning. Why don't you hear what he has to say? You let me know where you're at.
I'll make a run and win a division.
I don't know. And here's why I don't know. The defense is still not buttoned up. And I get it. They only allowed 6 points last night, but I thought that had way more to do with the self-inflicted wounds from the Miami Dolphins than anything that Baltimore did defensively. Mm-hmm. And so I guess my question is, can that defense beat teams that don't beat themselves? And does the answer to that question actually matter, considering that the Baltimore Ravens play in what feels like the worst division in football? Record-wise, it is. Now, 5 of the Ravens' final 8 games are against AFC North opponents, so they got a chance to feast on a lot of bad. But when the Ravens are matched up against a team that doesn't make the mistakes that we saw from the Miami Dolphins throughout the entirety of last night's game, can they be good enough to keep their team on the right side of those outcomes?
Now, that looked like that resonated with you. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I just think that's fair. But you also hear a change in his tone a little bit from recent weeks, which is maybe bringing us back to what we were just talking about a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
He's not sure. But at the same time, he's also noting what we've noted, how banged up the Bears secondary was, how many self-inflicted wounds, the game mismanagement at the end of the first half, the end of regulation last Sunday, and then turn around last night. We know Miami's woes. We know their issues. So I just think that's a fair way of looking at it. And now the Ravens get a chance to, who knows? It's Minnesota. It's the Jets. Who's in between Minnesota and the Jets for their schedule? I don't have the schedule in front of me, but it's one other team that is a favorable matchup for the Ravens.
Isn't it the Browns?
Thank you. Cleveland. So I just think that it's gradually heading in the right direction. If you solely look at the output, which is 20 points or less the last 3 games in which they're 2-1 defensively wise. It's a great step in the right direction. But there's still a ton of issues with the run defense. There's still a ton of issues with players that have speed on the outside like Achane. But like we talked about on the post-game show last night, they're not letting themselves get beat badly over the top.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of which is due to Alohi's patrolling on the back end. We'll talk about him in just a bit. Kyle's playing at an all-pro level and affecting the game in countless ways. And maybe they're days away from bringing in a guy or two defensively. So I recognize all that too.
Yeah, that's the thing is I think what Chris Canty said that is correct, that I think you, me, and Chris Canty all agree on, is that I'm not I love the defensive direction, but I'm not a believer to take me from the Ravens will win the AFC North to sticking my chest out about being a legitimate Super Bowl threat. Because then so I guess what I'm saying here is I am on the record, the Ravens will win the AFC North. And I don't think that's some just optimistic, Sarah's being optimistic kind of thing. The numbers prove that out. The evidence proves that out. We see it right here. Kalshi put out last night and this morning, the Ravens have doubled the chances of the Steelers of winning the AFC North. Like, it would actually be emotional to deny that because you're emotionally cynical. This doesn't put in optimism or cynicism. These are the numbers. These are the numbers based off of all the factors that they have, from Lamar Jackson to health to schedule to all of the other things that they do by the numbers. People talk about emotional always being like, oh, you're too emotionally into it for the Ravens, but you can be emotionally against the Ravens too because you don't want to get hurt or whatever. Like, this is the numbers today. The Ravens have double the chances, 59% to 29% for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the defense that we're seeing right now, with no additions from Eric DeCosta yet other than Alohi Gilman, the defense we're seeing right now is going to be enough, plenty enough in some cases, for the Ravens to beat the Vikings and the Browns and the Jets and the Bengals and maybe even the Steelers. I think that the Ravens can get by with this version of the defense to win the AFC North. That being said, for me to stick my chest out beyond winning the AFC North, I need the EDC to make some moves. That's where the difference is for me. Peter Schrager talked about trades both this morning, both for the Ravens and the Dolphins, since we just saw them, and what could potentially happen there. Do I have the right one? Is this it?
Well, while you cue that up, I understand
for something
your
to play.
Nope, that's not it. Sorry, go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, while you cue that up, I understand your rationale, and I understand the numbers. And now Femi's out there somewhere right now screaming it from the rooftops that Kalshi continues to go in an upward trajectory in favor of the Ravens. I just think it's a 2-team race right now, and I think it's a flip of the coin based on how wonky the AFC North gets and how wonky the rematches are typically, or the series history, taking out, of course, the postseason game last year where the Ravens dominated the Steelers. I think there's a lot of parity that goes into these matchups, and I'm just not quite out in front ready to call it yet for the division as confidently as you are at this moment.
I got you. Here's Schrager on trade opportunities for the Ravens and Dolphins.
Trade deadline in the NFL, always look at the general manager and what their history is. And already we've seen Eric DeCosta, the GM of the Ravens, go out and get Alohi Gilman, which we have already seen pay dividends because Kyle Hamilton can now be the chess piece. In recent years, he has traded for Tre'Davious White at the deadline, Deontay Johnson at the deadline, Roquan Smith near the deadline, and Yannick Ngakoue a couple years back. I always look at the GM. Howie Roseman's going to be talking. Brandon Beane's going to be talking. Eric DeCosta is always someone you watch in situations like this when it comes to trade deadline. And to your point, 10 days now to really assess things, but really 4 days. The other side of it, Miami could be in fire sale mode right now. Bradley Chubb is a highly priced player that could be moved. You're looking at Jalen Phillips, who is a first-round pick, who people like. He might be on the move. And, of course, they've got Matthew Judon on that roster, who has been a piece that a lot of people have used in recent years. He could be on the move. So those 3 pass rushers, look for them to be possible trade pieces over the next few days.
Oof. So that's the key for me of how deep I think the Ravens can go in the playoffs, is who can Eric DeCosta get to help out in the trenches. No trades, still think they're going to win the AFC North. Without trades, that's going to diminish their impact postseason.
Good stuff. And a good debate back and forth. I mean, RC and Stephen A. Kind of set that up perfectly for us. Teed it up on a platter. And a lot of people weighing in the live chat right now as well, and via super chat too. So we should probably get back to some of those before we dive into more content. I think we left off with Olu, and that brings us back to Rodrigo. Rodrigo says, Gilman maybe an RBI double. We need a home run outside linebacker trade. I like that. An RBI double in acquiring Alohi Gilman, and he wants a home run for an outside linebacker trade. I like that. Olu writes double for sure. Okay, so everybody's answering your home run question there.
For Alohi Gilman?
Yeah. And Diamond Bull is here.
Diamond Bull says teams Ravens lost to with Lamar, Chiefs, Lions, Bills. Teams Bills lost to with Allen, Falcons, Patriots. Bills haven't shown they're, quote, playing better. And I think, again, that was Stephen A. Smith's point of like, you can't rule them out because of the competition this year. There's nobody that everybody's like, all right, Chiefs are amazing this year. Or, whoa, look at the Bills going. Like, there's nobody that's just like, I mean, they're still good and they still have a history of playing well in the postseason, but none of them are looking like unstoppable forces.
Yeah. In the same breath, don't overlook New England. I think Mike Vrabel's got that team playing inspired. Drake May is developing, and the Ravens are going to have to see them at some point down the second half stretch at home. Wildlife says the offensive line is trash, defensive line is subpar, and tackling is questionable. The way we're playing at the moment can win the division, but you got to be good in the trenches and tackle to win a Super Bowl or even make it.
Agreed.
Diamond Bull for you.
We are the AFC Super Bowl who are the AFC Super Bowl contenders? No one has the belt. We could get the Colts in the divisional and Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Why not like our chances?
Appreciate you, Diamond Bull. And thanks everybody for being here today. Over 2,400 concurrents at the moment. Hour 2 underway. If you could on the way in, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. Sarah, it feels like there's been a lot of conversation about Alohi. Should we play some of his post-game sound?
Yeah, it's great.
Chat a little bit about this defense, and we'll get into Marlins victory IG Live, and just kind of looking at that defensive side of the ball as a whole, and including some more on what Miami had to say post-game. But first, Alohi's third game as a Baltimore Raven since being acquired several weeks ago on the other end of that Odafe Oweh deal with the LA Chargers. He's come in. He's brought a level of calmness. He's got, obviously, a rapport with Kyle Hamilton, being that they were former running mates at Notre Dame. And while, yes, as many of our Super Chat donors today have commented, Alohi's got to get a little bit more polished up in space from a tackling and finishing standpoint, man, I think he's ingratiated himself early on, Sarah, not only because of interviews like this, but some of that stability that he's brought to the back end. Here is Alohi last night in Miami.
And, you know, getting 2 wins in 10 days is obviously huge for the confidence of the team. But just as a whole, the mentality, getting back that mentality to winning. Obviously, I came in at a weird time, and I wasn't able to experience the first chapter. But it's been cool to be here and see everyone shifting their mindset to winning football, which is what is ingrained in this place. And I'm just happy to be a part of it and just be a person that can help and contribute the best that I can. I mean, the NFL is a crazy game. It's a crazy business to be a part of. One day you'll be on the West Coast, the next day you can be on the East Coast. And I'm just happy to be a part of this team. You know, it has a winning culture. Coach Harbaugh and the rest of the staff do a great job. And I'm just going to focus on what I got to do to be the best version of myself. And if it's being around the ball constantly, giving good energy, be a patrol guy back there, that's what I'm going to do. And, you know, I just can't wait for the future. It's like riding a bike. It's like two homeboys playing pickup at the YMCA. So me and K-Ham just picked up where we left off. We obviously connect on a different level because we have some experiences together. We're similar personalities. I don't know if it's the Notre Dame in us, but, you know, that connection is easy. And I'm just happy to be around him. He's one of the best, if not the best guy in the league. And to be around him, to make plays with him, I'm just having a blast doing it. Was the young freshman and I was a senior, so I've seen him grow and develop. I helped him in a way to get to that place, but not taking the credit. He is who he is. But I think we're just like-minded people. The way that we approach the game, the way that we talk, communicate. And he's a calm-mannered, confident, flying around guy, and I feel like I'm the same way. So when you have that too, the chemistry on the field is easy. And I played with a bunch of different safeties, but being out there with him, man, it's got to be one of the best to be around because it's easy. He makes the game easy. We do it for each other. We help each other out, and it shows on the field.
Okay, first of all, yeah, he did catch himself. I helped him get here. That's what my older brothers do with all the time. My sister talks about football nonstop, and it's because of us. We got her to love football, which is actually kind of true. But yeah, that was funny. He's like, I helped him get here. We might get dinged for copyright just because the background music that you were dancing to in the background, enjoying that.
Hopefully locker room wise, it doesn't get picked up, but I'll catch that one on the chin if so.
Oh no, it's all good. I mean, I took a chance last night, obviously, and then he also said they have the same personality. I'm not great. I feel like I don't get that either. I feel like Kyle Hamilton is just so monotone. He seems a little bit more dynamic than that in terms of like just being, super outgoing in the way they talk and whatever. But I do agree they've got great chemistry, and I do wonder what his in front of camera response would be. When it was like when he got traded here and the Ravens had one win and Lamar was injured and things were dire in Baltimore and he had to leave the Chargers who were looking good. I mean, I'm sure he was happy to be like, reunite with Kyle. But I do wonder if in the back of his mind, he's like, man, we're over here Super Bowl bound. This might be Ravens down year. I just wonder if there was any part of that. And maybe there wasn't. Maybe he came in feeling like, nah, I'm going to help turn things around just the way he has done.
Well, he's got a young family too. And so, he mentioned West to East Coast, the red eye that he took to be in Baltimore ahead of the Rams game, played immediately almost every single snap. I mean, talk about, making light of a I'm sure what's been a difficult just business in the NFL type situation. And Sarah, I know you asked for this. So here it is. And you didn't ask now, but I know you're going to want it. And here it is. Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, noting the differences weeks 1 through 5. And then since week 6 in terms of overall categories defensively before and after the acquisition of Alohi Gilman. And I'll rip through it quickly. Weeks 1 through 5. This is a team that was allowing 35.4 points per game. They gave up and allowed over 408 yards, over 262 through the air, 146 north of that on the ground, and recorded just 2 takeaways. Since week 6, since Alohi came to Baltimore, and yes, aside from the Rams, not exactly stiff competition. It's a 3-game sample size. We get that. But we're also following, Sarah, what we did last year, weeks 1 through 10, and then 11 through 18, given some of the alignment changes for Kyle Hamilton. Since week 6, 13 points per game is what this defense is allowing. Still got to get that yardage down. That's at 315 over the 3 on average. 229 north of that through the air, 85.7 on the ground, and 5 takeaways, including 3 yesterday, all of whom rookies were in on it. Or if not, I guess 2 of the 3 of them, let's call it, were directly involved in those takeaways. So maybe, just maybe, Sarah, this becomes graphics similar to last year. It's just weeks 1 through 5. And then after, so what, 6 through 18 is maybe what we'll end up looking at it. It's just 3 games, just 3 weeks, but a good step in the right direction for Zach Orr's group.
Listen, I'm obviously on record that I do think Alohi Gilman has helped change this defense. We also have to remember the difference in competition, obviously, to go up against the Chiefs and the Bills and the Lions is very different from going up against the Rams are still, can put up points, but the Bears and the struggling Miami Dolphins who are now broken and firing their GM this morning. And so I think Alohi is important context. And I think the opponents and their offensive capabilities are also context that need to be pointed out.
Yep.
But to your point, to kind of bring the conversation even forward, because Alohi is playing well. And as we mentioned briefly last night, that they're relying on 3 rookies in the defense in a big way. And every single week, they're only going to get better. And so I looked up their snap counts. Bobby, first round pick Malachi Starks, second round pick Mike Green, fourth round pick Teddy Buchanan, all played about 70% or more of the defensive line snaps. Like, I think Teddy was like right around 69. So it's like around the 70% mark. So not only are they in there for the bulk of the defense, but then they helped with splash plays. Malachi, obviously, with that interception, great ball tracking skills. Mike Green with it's really a half a sack, but he got that sack. And then Teddy in on both those 2 forced fumbles. When he was on IG Live, he called them forced fumble assists. So that's where I'm coming in with that language. So 2 forced fumble assists. And he was, I mean, all of them were out there. And every single week that they're out there and Alohi's even understanding this defense better and keeps jumping in, like, that's another reason to feel like the defense can get better.
Yeah, and to single out Malachi and his PFF grading, 91.2 overall is what he leaves the Dolphins with. Just 1 reception allowed for 5 yards. We know the pick was up there, kind of thrown up for grabs, 50-50 ball by Tua. But as you said on our postgame show last night, he still had to kind of do some ball tracking and execute that and concentrate and found a way to get his first interception of his young career. And then the 2.8 passer rating allowed, a good number for 24. Yes, no Tyreek Hill out there, but Malachi's developing, and it requires a little bit of patience. All 3 of these rookies require a little bit of patience, but slowly but surely, and you mentioned it on Twitter earlier today, if Emory Jones can find his way into the rotation on the other side of the ball coming up in the next few weeks, if they view him as a legitimate candidate to replace one of their guards or at least get him in a rotation or whatever, this rookie class is going to be looking a lot more compelling than it did just a few weeks ago.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice, Emory Jones? Wouldn't that be nice? So Skip Bayless had a hot take last night that I don't think is too crazy. When Kyle Hamilton obviously went down with an injury, we all got a scare. Skip Bayless said that Kyle Hamilton is almost as important to the Ravens as Lamar Jackson. I feel like putting that almost in there makes it true. Like, besides Lamar Jackson, is there anybody else that you would want to lose less? I mean, we just saw what life was like without Roquan, which was brutal. Without Marlon, they were out together, so it's hard to know what just one of them missing would look like. Ronnie Stanley, Noteboom was not fun watching Noteboom protect Lamar Jackson. That being said, I'd still put Kyle Hamilton above all of them.
Yeah, I'd probably go, just doing this off the cuff, I'd probably go Lamar, Kyle, Ronnie, Ricard.
Say that again?
Lamar, Kyle, Ronnie, Ricard.
Ricard.
I'd give him top 4 status.
They scored 40 points without Ricard. They were averaging 30 plus without Ricard.
I still throw him in there.
Above Roquan and above Roquan.
Do you hear the trash outside?
I do hear the trash as you're contemplating.
Yeah. Do I want Roquan above? Can I be convinced of that? Yeah, I could probably put Roquan above Ricard, and Ricard could round out the top 5.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
I feel better about that. Also, just looking back at this last night, is this really a blindside block? So this is after Malachi Starks' interception. They're looking right at each other. Maybe I don't know the definition of blindside block, but he's looking at Kyle dead in the face. Like, you can maybe get away with like a helmet to helmet.
Let's get a definition.
Yeah, get a definition. Why was that? I do remember the broadcast saying, I've got no problem with my defender making a block like that. They didn't really go too deep into it. What's the opposite of blind? Just complete visionary? He's got complete vision.
Let's get some AI overview, which you always got to take with a grain of salt here.
Sometimes,
on the fly.
Yeah.
Here we go. Official language. A foul occurs if a player initiates a block where their path is toward or parallel to their own end line, and they make forcible contact with the opponent with their helmet, forearm, or shoulder. Is there head contact?
Yeah, there's head contact.
All right.
Why do they call it blindside then?
That's where it is then.
Why not just call it a helmet-to-helmet hit?
Okay. Yeah. Well,
I mean, it didn't really have an. Listen, if we're being honest, the Ravens got some better calls from the refs than the Dolphins did. So I'm not like, whining about it. The Dolphins got screwed over big time on the tripping, the phantom tripping that brought back, what was that? Like a 40-yard play?
The tripping they need NFL replay assist on. That's ridiculous. I mean, looking at it objectively, that's just ridiculous. If that happened to the Ravens, you guys would have lost your freaking minds, and and everybody should have in Miami. Just for the integrity of the game, the polish of the game, everybody should be upset about that because it could have happened to anybody. That was terrible. Just to finish the end of that definition, because this answers more of your lack of clarity. I'll go back at the top too. So blindside blocking. The way that it's enforced and evaluated. A foul occurs if a player initiates a block where their path is toward or parallel, so parallel in this case, to their own end line, and they make forcible contact with the opponent with their helmet. That's also check box number 2, forearm or shoulder. Officials will watch for these specific conditions, even if the block itself isn't strictly, quote, from the blind side.
Oh. Well, that's a misleading name for that penalty then.
It's good context because I don't know if I've ever taken a deep dive into the terminology behind the way that's enforced. So good definition there. But it doesn't take away from how gladiator-like Kyle Hamilton was last night. He was a lot of fun to watch. Terrell Suggs told us earlier this year when he joined right here, this show Inside the Vault, that Kyle belonged with us. He could have been with us. The way that he played the game. And my gosh, there were a couple plays last night, including the one where he clubbed a guy after going down on the sideline going down to the ground, walking up on his own power, taking one play off, and then immediately the next play that he's in the game, just laying a wood. It's such a reminder that we talk about his measurables, you talk about the unicorn ability, the way that you can align him anywhere on the field, and just everything that he gives you. With his frame and the 6'4" basketball stature and so on and so forth. But the physicality maybe gets lost in all of that because that's what makes him maybe the most special safety in today's game.
Would you say that was Depoy level of play?
Last night, yeah.
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 We better start making some noise for that along with the MV3. Do we want IG Live highlights or do you have anything else?
Yeah, go ahead. Right ahead.
Okay. So this was interesting. I watched this when I woke up this morning, and I was like, I wonder how Marlon's going to be received with IG Live. And it started out at first with the way I thought it would, which was like, don't do this, Marlo. We've had too much heat. Yes, we've won 2 in a row, but we still have a losing record. We're still 3-5. So at first, some guys were hiding from him. It started off with Tyler Linderbaum. He was not trying. We know Tyler Linderbaum's not trying to get on IG Live. Okay, that's obvious. But then people start warming up, and then I was shocked because he went to put Lamar Jackson back on IG Live, and we know that Marlon's taken some heat for being the first to say that it was Lamar who took the games out of the locker room. We know last time we saw Lamar on IG Live, he told Marlo essentially, probably nicer than I'm about to, but hey, get that out of my face. I don't want to see that. So when he turned the camera on Lamar, I was like, how is Lamar going to react? And I was a little bit surprised.
Stars, man. 2 real stars. And I'm going to turn this camera around here in about 5 seconds. And we're going to see who this is, okay? Lamar Jackson in your hometown, in both of our hometown states, 2 Florida guys. What was it like being back in that Florida air? Is the air just different in Florida or what? It's just different. And then we got postgame fueled by for play action. The play action. You can at least talk to us about that. I mean, that play action food just got us fueled to the top. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, that's pretty good. Yeah, do you want to tell the people about play action a little bit, or just let it be? Self-explanatory. Self-explanatory. Your restaurant in Pompano. Is that your lingo, or is that how you actually say it? Okay, I didn't know that. My fault. I just, you know what I'm saying? All right, Lamar, man, look, we appreciate you dearly, man. Great to have you back in Florida, man. You know what I mean? And Mr. King Hen here, is I'm just going to say he can't see me right now because he's studying film on that phone of his. But, man, we appreciate you, too. And he's just locked in. So we're just going to do that knee tap right there.
Okay, just so you know, way later in the IG live, Derrick Henry, although not wanting to talk to Marlo right then, called him back over. Like he said, come back over, and did an actual, seemed like he almost gave a serious interview. But on Lamar Jackson's side, he didn't shut it down. He wasn't super engaging, but he did help him pronounce Pompano and, dapped him up, talked about his restaurant a little bit. So he engaged. He didn't tell him, don't do this right now like he did last time. So I don't know. Does he have the green light again? Did he get the green light from Lamar?
I think Lamar was greenlighting everybody last night. He was on Amazon. He did his normal press conference. He was on with Scott Van Pelt. He went on Marlon's Instagram Live. I think he was feeling himself back home. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to your question. Everybody was greenlighted last night.
Yeah. I don't think that means they can have the games back, but maybe just IG victory is lapsed. So anyway, and then Marlo with his what is he putting on his radio voice and laid it on thick, that kind of stuff. Do you have what's your can you give us your most radio voice? If you just laid it on thick. Or you can think about what you would say, and I can go to Roquan. Okay, yeah, think about what you would say. Then he goes over to Roquan and Kyle Hamilton, and the three of them give each other a little bit of a hard time. Well, actually, Kyle, nobody could give Kyle a hard time, but they all held each other accountable. Listen to this.
Wait. On that drop pick, what happened on that drop, though?
I dropped it. And shit, I'm pissed off at you, too, for that double move early in the game.
Whoa. Are you talking about the penalty? You talking about the penalty?
Yeah. We got to hone in.
Wait, why we care about a penalty?
What you got to say?
No, I want to talk about this penalty.
I dropped it.
Oh, you talking about drop pick, but what else happened on that drive? Did they score?
We ended up getting another one from somebody. Was it you? Or was it
I actually don't know. But you did need that pick. You did need that pick.
Get down, we're taking off.
Yes, sir. We're ending this thing with.
If you didn't hear that, somebody in the background said, sit down, we're taking off. And he said, yes, sir. And then he continues with Kyle Hamilton.
Wow, talk to us about the game. 2-0. You don't even remember the past. We are 2-0. Talk to us about the mindset, how you feel, new fiance life. I mean, we got a lot to discuss, brother. Tell the people. We need to know.
It's been good these past couple weeks, man. It's been good, but not good enough.
Ooh.
We have so much in
front of us. Yes, Lord.
We really need our. It's really disheartening when I turn around.
Yes.
And I see my CB1 40 yards away from his man.
He has a concussion.
We're better, but it's not good enough. It's really disheartening when I turn around and my CB1 is 40 yards away from his receiver. Marlo, he's got a concussion. No, it's good. This is what you do, right? This is what you do. They all row. Why'd you miss that interception? Why are you missing your guy? Well, that was a penalty, so it doesn't count. And by the way, I helped force the fumble later that drive. So if they don't hear it from fans, they for sure hear it from each other.
Roquan looked like he was ready to spend that mini bye out in Miami with that shirt. He looked like he was ready to go enjoy himself post-game. But speaking of post-game, Jordan Brooks, Dolphins linebacker, had this to say. We mentioned it briefly on our post-game show last night. Just in terms of the way Miami had to feel relatively decent coming out of the first half, knowing that they thoroughly outplayed the Ravens, but they just had self-inflicted wound after self-inflicted wound. This got some run last night. Is he wrong? Well, we'll talk on the other side. Jordan Brooks, linebacker for the Dolphins.
I mean, I thought they had a decent game, but a lot of that came towards the end of the game. Game was out of reach, a lot of garbage time, to be honest with you. I felt like we played well defensively in the first half, but like I said, turnovers, that kills you. Not capitalizing, not scoring when we could, giving them the ball back, giving them an extra set of downs. Players like that, they're going to find a way to get in the end zone. So we got to capitalize when we got the chance to and play complementary football.
You mentioned the run game, the first half, as David said, like it was really well. The run defense, excuse me, what kind of happened in the second?
Like I said, he got a lot of his yards in the garbage time. Yeah.
Dude's a baller. You're right, Jeremiah. He's a beast. I think he leads the NFL in overall tackles. Some people in the live chat want him to come to Baltimore. So why don't you throw Jalen Phillips in there and Jordan Brooks on the plane? They should just went home with the Ravens on the plane. But Sarah, maybe he's got a point here. I mean, we talked about it last night. Miami outgained Baltimore by well over 100 yards in that first half. Tallied up 6 more first downs, 10 total. They dominated the time of possession by 8 minutes. And as you mentioned last night, they limited Monken's offense to 1 for 6 on third down. Yet, when you play Miami Dolphins football, you still go into the half down 14-6.
So is the entire second half garbage time? Like, what's the definition of garbage time?
Well, right. That's within the 4 quarters. You got to play 4 quarters. That's where he loses a little bit of the. Yeah.
Like, I mean, agreed. They were very good on third down. The Ravens weren't able to sustain many drives in the first half, 1 of 6 on third down. But then as soon as they came out in the second series, it was Lamar who on third down scrambled and picked it up. He was the first one to get the third rounds kind of turned around. And with the spread offense, Todd Monken's adjustments, that's when Derrick Henry started going off. And there was some in the fourth quarter too. But at what point was it garbage time? I've heard Bills fans say that Lamar was because Bills fans saw that slide I had at the top that had Lamar having more touchdown passes than Josh Allen in 2 fewer games. And they're like, oh yeah, he was stat padding. The Ravens' last touchdown, I think, was in the third quarter. So let me look this up to be sure. Possession here. Yeah, Ravens' last touchdown was with 6:23 left in the third quarter. So does the entire second half count as stat padding? Is that what we're doing? Is that garbage time? The third quarter? Yeah, I don't know. I attribute a lot of what they did in the second half to the adjustments that they made.
Yeah, the Ravens deserve credit. I think we gave Monken that last night. Derrick Henry clearly demoralized them in garbage time, whatever you want to call it, in the second half. I think what Jordan was, having listened to the press conference in full, I think it was more about just how disappointing of a first half it was for them, knowing that they, for 90% of the time, particularly at the line of scrimmage, outplayed the Ravens and yet had nothing to show for it going into halftime. So
Right. Do we want to get to some super chats and quick hits?
Sure.
Okay.
We left off with, as I start to scroll around and see, I think Diamond Bull. Wildlife says, I still feel we should have kept CJ Gardner-Johnson. Sure tackler and a ball hawk. 6 interceptions last year for the Eagles. Didn't even spend, a week with the Ravens? 10 days, whatever it was.
Where did he land?
Yeah, he was picked up not long ago. Who picked him up, guys? Help me out. There's been so many former Ravens that have been picked up by teams or worked out by teams. Like Marcus Williams is in L.A.
He's with the Bears.
He's with Chicago. Okay, that's funny.
That is funny.
That's funny. Jeremy Hughes here.
Jeremy says the Ravens do a great job of finding the right guy at the right time. Let's hope we see more progress in that direction before the deadline.
Evan says the week 1 through 5 defense data is also slightly skewed because of all the injuries we had. Hamilton, Roquan, Marlon, #Free Taurus. Fernando, for you.
Ravens continue to rise one step closer to triumph.
Card Counter says Teddy Buchanan, shout out, looking more comfortable. And the reigning AFC Defensive Player of the Month.
Rookie.
And I should add rookie in that. It's an important factor. It's an important designation. Thank you.
That'd be a whole other level. Yeah. Wildlife is back. He says that tripping call is why Starks got a 91.
Daryl Walton celebrating 3 months of channel membership with us. Appreciate you, DW. And Will Jones says, by the way, did anybody catch the highlights of Pat Ricard getting knocked on his butt twice? Once on a bull rush by Chubb and once on a run play. We did talk about both last night and both were shocking. maybe an indication, one, of the talent that is Bradley Chubb, and two, hopefully more importantly, Pat's still ramping himself back up, having only played, a limited snap count, and the last regular season snap up until this past Sunday was January. So hopefully it's more about that
to do it. Mini buy ahead to do
back.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Daryl Walton is with us.
Daryl says, isn't taking advantage of the other team's miscues and causing turnovers part of being a winning team? Teams that have beat us have done just that. Hashtag it's our time. Hashtag the vault. Hashtag Bobby, get with the program.
What
Bobby,
program?
You're off the program, Bobby. We don't know.
What program, Daryl? You get with the program. Appreciate you.
No, it's true though. I mean, who said it? That we said it so much last year, and it was led by Bill Belichick, that the biggest threat to the Ravens were the Ravens last year.
Said it a million times.
There's something to that at times, but then other times, good teams make you play that way. Like when the Ravens shot themselves in the foot against the Eagles, and I mean, it felt like they were shooting themselves in the foot against good teams. And so part of it is like, yeah, you just got to do better. And part of that is like, but you got to do better in these tighter circumstances because they're putting that pressure on.
Quick hits begin with Mark Andrews. It's his 12th career game with multiple receiving touchdowns. That's the most of any tight end since entering the league, which he did alongside his draft classmate Lamar back in 2018. Good for Mark and good for all the tight ends there who are in the middle of contract years. All of them were involved. Mark Andrews finds the end zone twice. Charlie Kohler finds the end zone once, back-to-back weeks. And he was hilarious, as you'd expect from Charlie Kohler in his post-game press conference media scrum when he had this to say, Sarah, about what happened pre-touchdown on that route. This is so good.
Touchdown. Yeah. Well, I can't say I did that much. It was pretty awesomely schemed, so I was pretty open. So, Monk did a great job, and Trav and Danny and everyone who does red zone, they did a great job. And kind of dropped me when I sold the down block, and then Lamar found me. It was great.
You stumbled a little bit. Did you kind of get tripped up, or was that intentional at all?
Just elite athleticism. No, I'm just kidding. I almost fell because I almost fell. It's kind of embarrassing. But it kind of worked, honestly. I think they kind of dropped me, so I might do it on purpose next time. It kind of worked.
This guy, he gets caught selling the down block, just tripped, just kind of like lost his balance, as we talked about last night. And just the way that he responds to it is so Charlie. Elite athleticism. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. But maybe I'll do it again on purpose because it worked. Good for you, Charlie. And, Brian McFarland tweeted something that I was kind of trying to suggest last night earlier today, Sarah. And I think this could be the hard truth unless the Ravens truly prioritize Kohler, which will be tough because then that means you're probably not prioritizing Isaiah Likely. But Brian, friend of the show, Ravens salary cap analyst, tweeted, I'm getting the feeling that Charlie's going to be getting a contract next March elsewhere that's going to surprise a lot of people. And I wonder if that ends up being the case. And we'll get there when we get there. But it's great to see Charlie, obviously, be more involved other than just some of the dirty work that he's done for years at an elite level.
I hope he does get paid because he's been the best teammate for the longest time. And he was drafted obviously ahead of Isaiah Likely, had an injury in his first rookie camp, and then Isaiah Likely took off. And he came into the league as a receiving tight end. And he's not known that way. And I remember asking him about that when he was on the show with us during the draft. And he's like, no big deal. And I can't fault anybody for that. Like, I'm just going to do what I can do to help. And just literally, and it didn't even feel like a stock answer. Like it felt like he meant it. Yeah. And so he deserves to get paid. And I think he can do more. He can do more with a greater opportunity. It's just, we're embarrassed by riches at the tight end position. And Lamar Jackson was rewarded with some riches of his own, if you will. He was given a purple kind of WWE style belt, championship type belt. They gave it to him because he's the first player ever to be at the Amazon Prime desk 5 times. So you only go there after a win. If you are on the losing side, you don't get invited to the desk. So the fact that the Ravens have even been featured 5 times on Thursday night lets you know, obviously, that the league likes putting him in prime time. Then on top of it, the fact that he's won 5 times on Thursday night in prime time. And so he's the one representing. And I just thought it was the funniest thing. He loved it. Bobby, he showed more excitement for this belt. And we've seen him at WWE matches before, right? I feel like we've had clips on before from years past where he went. And I think they called him out as part of like the production or whatever. But his first question, he's like beaming when he gets it. He's like, do I get to keep this? Like, yes, Lamar, the belt that's purple with your picture on it, you get to keep, because we don't know who else we're going to give it to. Like, he's won MVPs. He's won the NFL Top 100 award. He gets him. He's like, oh, thank you. The belt, he's like, oh, do I get to keep this?
Look at him. Look at him throughout the years, right?
Yeah.
I think one of those games was a non-Thursday, but it was like an Amazon broadcast, the playoff game that they contextualized right there down in the middle of the bottom part of the graphic. But yeah, has he ever not showed out on primetime? Yes, there's been times against the Dolphins. Thursday Night Football, cover zero blitz. We all remember that from several years ago. But guy always shows out for the most part when the lights are bright.
Hey, one other thing that he said during that, and maybe that can bring us back to my question for you, is they asked him about Halloween. And they asked him what he was going to wear as a costume. He's like, oh, no costumes. I don't do costumes. And they were like, well, oh, okay. Well, like, but like you celebrate, right? Like you'll have candy for the kids when they come by. He's like, nope, no candy. He's like, I turn the lights off. Nobody knock on my door. I'm not giving those kids candy. And like, so, oh shoot, what's Seattle Seahawks cornerback? Richard Sherman was like, come on, man. We're trying to like show that you're fun in some ways. And Lamar was like, no. Like he wanted definitely to give off the persona. I'm not fun. We're losing. We're not allowed to have fun.
I thought that was the funny part of it as well. Maybe it's just the fact that it falls like Matt LaFleur just went viral earlier today, Packers coach. He's like, I don't do that. It's in the middle of the season. You think I'm celebrating a holiday in the middle of a season?
What does that mean when you say you don't celebrate it? Like it's not like it's Christmas. It's just
you
like
don't participate in it.
So you don't give out candy? Do you turn off your lights?
Not in this setup that I'm in because I don't have a front door. I'm in the back of a property. Okay. So,
but generally, like if you're back at home state, New York, you're at your mom's house. Do you give out candy for the kids?
Well, I'll just tell you what I did last year in Canton because I had a row home that had a front door and I gave out candy, but I didn't dress up.
Oh, okay. So you just don't dress up on Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I put out a tweet. People are like, you're going to love it when you have kids. You're going to love it when you have a significant other, this, that, and the other. I don't know.
I will say with kids, it hits different. I've never been I don't dress up a ton. I mean, it's kind of hit or miss. If I have a good idea, I'll do it. Yeah. But yeah, with kids, yeah. Like my youngest daughter is like all into the K-pop Demon Hunter things. And she had like 3 other friends and they wanted to be the K-pop, whatever they were. My daughter was Zoe. And it's just like, it's so much fun to see them enjoy it, So we'll revisit. We'll revisit it. I didn't know if you were like against Halloween or something. You're just not into dressing up.
When I can see it through their eyes, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Until then, I'll take it or leave it. I've left it a lot. Jordan Stout continues his Pro Bowl caliber season, and Jeff observing that. Yes, he's taken a lot of criticism in recent years, some of which has been deserving. But Jeff says a strong case can be made that he's the most improved player this year on the team. And I was actually looking into this, and I mentioned it last night, Sarah, that I'll do more. And here's the breaking news on the fine amount for the Ravens. So the investigation has come down to a final conclusion, and it's just a $100,000 fine for the Ravens based on what took place at the end of last week with Lamar's status going into the Chicago game. There are no draft picks, no draft pick punishment, I should say. Adam Schefter noting that the NFL has fined the Ravens $100,000 for violating the league's injury report policy.
All right. So, about basically what we were guessing would happen, a fine, but not a draft pick. It felt like, I don't know, like Mike Florio and others were like so doom and gloom. Oh, it could be up to a draft pick and this and that. It's like, really? And my guess is because there was no draft pick involved, I think the NFL is buying what the Ravens are selling and that it was an honest mistake. And from the beginning, I've said that just because I was a part of putting together injury reports when I was working in the PR department. It just, I had no clue about the rule and I put that thing together frequently. So, I mean, obviously a boss would approve it and whatnot, but it rarely went over to the football side. We just put it out. So yeah, it's fair. They were sloppy and they messed up. And so $100,000 is fair, but anything more than that, I feel like there would have needed to have been some intention behind it.
It's a wrist slap, in other words. Slightly wrist slap.
I mean, $100,000 is a lot for you and me, but it's for the Ravens. It's not anybody personally, right? It's not like John Harbaugh.
It's the team, which is worth over $6 billion. So
Steve Bisciotti can handle it. Yeah,
they'll be all right. Jordan, though, just a final note on Jordan. Well, maybe we'll get into this. You know, I'll be more detailed the next time around. And we'll make it like a third topic or something, just in terms of his improvement and whatnot. But he's averaging 51.4 yards per punt, Sarah. 25 punts total, long of 64, and 12 of those 25 have gone inside the 20. So he's contributing. You know, he's contributing. He's backing opposing offenses deep into their own territory. And to Jeff's point, he's improving. So good for him.
Good for him.
Contract year for him?
I don't think so. I feel like he was drafted like 2 years ago.
He's got a few more years under his belt than 2.
Like this is his 3rd year is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Let's see.
All right. Well, while you're looking that up, how awesome is this?
This is his 4th year. This is his 4th year.
His 4th year. Okay.
So next year, he said this is a contract year for Jordan. So good for him.
All right. But how great is this, Bobby? Did you see this? Ken McCusick. This is Ken McCusick on the left, Coach Evans on the right, both film study Twitter content creators, not Twitter, Ravens content creators. Both have their own podcasts and whatnot. Ken posts a picture of the two of them, plus their significant others. And Ken says, incredible coincidence. Our seats here in Miami are right next to each other. So the two film study guys from Ravens content creation just happen to be sitting next to each other. I love it. Now, I don't know who this girl is behind them trying to like photobomb them. I don't know why, but I love this. To me, this was heartwarming. Like if we just showed up at a game and like Ingraven was there, like by coincidence, it's like, oh, what's up? This is awesome.
You're right. She definitely is photobombing, but good to see these guys together and they're and their significant others, both friends of the show. I know Coach tentatively scheduled to come on and give us some of his great film analysis during the second half of the season, the same way that we've had Jason and Coach Coleman on. So hope they all had a blast out there, enjoyed the win. And man, I'm sure they ran into a bunch of familiar faces out there with the way the Ravens traveling flock showed up last night in Miami. I think we had one more super chat. No, we didn't. We're fully caught up. So let's get some patrons. Big shout out to Lisa Mason and Lauren Wunderlich. Thank you, ladies, for the continued support that you give us here inside the vault as monthly patron supporters of ours. This is your monthly shout out. We appreciate you, Lisa and Lauren. Hope you guys have an awesome weekend coming up. Patreon.com/RavensVault podcast is how you can learn more if you're interested in getting more involved in the channel. Well, partner, our normal weekend commences. Happy Halloween to all of you out there. Hope you enjoy it, Sarah. You and I will be back on Monday as we always are. And what a month it was. Boy, oh boy. Did this month finish a lot differently than the way that it started. Wow.
It's, man, like I said, there's hope. Before it was turmoil. Now there's hope. And it feels good. It feels good to go in and we'll have a Friday night, a Saturday, a Sunday. It'd be nice. My daughters actually, they debut they have their opening night in Willy Wonka tonight. So we're going to go see that. And we've already said it. I'm going to enjoy football on Sunday.
Good.
And I know you're going to have a good weekend too.
Yeah. Best of luck to, did you say plural, girls plural, or just
No,
London?
just London. Just
London. Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck to her. Sergeant Knight has become our newest channel member. Appreciate you, Sergeant.
Yes.
Salute to you and salute to everybody leading into what feels like a long weekend. Maybe some of you, it's just a normal weekend. For us, it feels like it's a long weekend because for 6 months of the year, our weekends are cut in half for work, which we love. We do it. That's why we do it. So thank you, guys. Have an awesome weekend. Safe weekend. Enjoy it. For Sarah Ellison, our tremendous brand sponsor, Manta Sleep, and all of you out there, I'm Bobby Trosted signing off from this Friday. I want to say Monday. From this Friday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. We'll be back with you on Monday. If you could on the way out, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. Bear, get that W, baby. Let's go, Bear. Get that W at the state championship for the 7th grade team. Come on. Let's go. Get some, Bear. Stop the run. Later, guys. Enjoy your weekend.